Hi, welcome to the video. I'm Fabregas. With Diablo 4 just mere hours away of early access release, pre-order, early access coming up pretty soon, I wanted to do just a quick little overview of the classes. And so nothing too in-depth, just to give us an idea of what we're getting ourselves into. First, we have the Necromancer, which I believe will be one of the most fun to play, especially if you're running just a solo campaign playthrough. I think the Necromancer will suit all your needs. So the Necromancer is going to use Essence, which it will regen when it uses its basic skills. And you can use corpses of defeated enemies to summon skeletons and create traps for corpse explosions. They are the only class that will be able to use skies, but they also use daggers, swords, wands. The four basic kind of playstyles that you can go into, but not limited to, for the Necromancer are Blood, Bone, Darkness, and Army. And these can be used together. You don't have to pick and choose one. Blood will use blood magic to either reinvigorate yourself and your allies through healing, or you can turn into a blood mist and drain from the enemies as well. Bone is going to use up a lot more essence. Bone spirits will be summoned and will attack enemies using either AoE blasts or setting up traps and explosions. Darkness will damage enemies over time. You can use debuffs to slow and drain your enemies, and these will combine very, very well with the bone abilities. And then the army. This is summoning legions of skeletons to do your fighting. Not only can you summon lots of skellies, but also a golem. And if you invest enough points, you will be able to summon all of them at the same time. The Necromancer is going to be really fun to play. Then we've got the Rogue making its return to Diablo 4. This is kind of a hybrid class of range and melee, both good options. You can either split them or you can try to focus on one, that'll be your choice. And the Rogue comes with some pretty cool features. There are 3 categories or specialities for the Rogue: combo points, exploit weakness, and Shadow Realm. Combo points, these are your basic attacks will build combo points, which can then be used to make additional effects and use certain skills. Exploit weakness is exactly what it says. It will show icons to what enemies are weak to, and then deal massive damage to them, which will lead into some imbue skills that we'll talk about in just a minute. Shadow Realm, which is basically you enter another dimension, you pull the enemies affected with you into another dimension, and you can deal increased damage. You'll become immune for a certain time, and you'll be unaffected by those that are not pulled into the Shadow Realm with you. The Rogue also has melee and range skills. Melee will have like a Shadow Step to teleport quickly, a Dash to move forward really fast, and Caltrops, which will dash you backwards and leave a trap in front of you for your enemies to run into. For range, they're going to have the Arrow Barrage, which uses combo points, and Rain of Arrows that'll hit multiple targets. For the skills I previously mentioned, the Rogue can imbue their attacks with either Frost, Acid, or Shadow. So when checking weaknesses, if you use abilities or weapon skills that are imbued with an effect, it'll cause more damage. Frost will slow and halt the enemies, Acid will poison them, and Shadow will inflict with darkness and the Shadow effect. So yes, you can imbue your Rain of Arrows with Frost and watch the enemies halt in your wake. Next we'll have the Sorcerer or Sorceress. Think control of the battlefield. An elemental damage dealer, but with the lowest defense and hit points. So strong attack, weak defense. Their skills and spells require mana, but unlike other classes, they constantly and passively regenerate mana. And there's actually a couple skill features that will generate mana for you as well. The Sorcerer or Sorceress relies a lot on destruction spells, both minor and major. Minor destruction spells will include Lightning, Firebolt, Frostbolt, and an Arc Lash. I don't think I need to go into too much detail about the first 3, but Arc Lash is different, as it'll shock the enemies and then it'll regenerate mana for you, so keep that in mind. For major spells, these all cost more mana and are along the same lines of Fire, Ice, and Lightning. Fire will have Fireball and Incinerate, Ice will have Ice Shards and Frozen Orb, and then your Lightning attacks will be Charged Bolts and Chain Lightning. This is just a quick overlook of the abilities for the Sorcerer. All will be customizable along the skill tree, so have fun. I think the Sorcerer will be great in a party, but may not be ideal for you Diablo rookies on your first solo playthrough. And we have the Druid. Here's another class that has many options and can kind of be like a hybrid. Not quite a hybrid like the rogue, but more as a cross between physical and magical damage. You will have a couple companions with you, and the ability to shapeshift for more powerful attacks. And you can control some elemental magic as well. The druid will use spirit for its major skills. Your basic skills will generate spirit for you. Now, I haven't seen too much of the druid yet, and a lot will be unveiled later as far as what could be done when progressing the skill tree. But to list a few things, basic skills will be Earth Spike, Storm Strike, Wind Shear, Shred, and Maul. As you can see, the elements the druid can control, Earth, Wind, and Storm, and then Shred and Maul are shape-shifting abilities to Wolf and Bear respectively. And Earth, Storm, and Wind are fairly explanatory. All of these will generate Spirit to allow you to use the next set of skills, your Spirit skills. To name a few, we've got Pulverize, which will transform you into a werebear and deal damage to nearby foes. Landslide, that causes 3 Earth Pillars to do crushing damage to numerous foes. And Tornado, that'll cause wind to generate an outward moving vortex to damage your enemies. I'll be doing a little bit more in depth about the druid later on. The Barbarian may be a difficult class to start with as well, being as they are much more gear centric, as far as you'll get better and better as you progress, and it doesn't have some of the really cool starting features of the other classes, but it does have really high damage output and defense. So here's a quick look. The Barbarian in Diablo 4 will use what's called an arsenal mechanic, so using your skills will auto switch to whatever weapon aligns with that skill. You've got slashing, dual wield, two-handed, bludgeoning, etc. Using basic skills will generate fury, and that will be used for your more powerful fury skills. Basic skills include bash, which requires a bludgeoning weapon and may stun enemies. You've got flay, which uses slashing weapons and can inflict bleed. And you've got frenzy, which is a dual wield and increases speed. You also have a lunge so you can move forward a little bit faster. All these will generate fury to allow you to deal devastating attacks, such as Hammer of the Ancients, Double Swing, and Whirlwind, to name a few. Just remember in the beginning, if you are Barbarian, it may feel like a slow grind, and in a group, you may feel a little left behind. But trust me, once you start getting the right gear and loot drops and progress up the skill tree, the passive abilities you choose will make the Barbarian a really fun class to play. So be patient. I might main as a Barbarian for my first playthrough. Alright, that's my quick overview of the 5 classes for Diablo 4. If you enjoyed the video, leave me a like and leave a comment. Which class are you going to choose? Which do you think is best for solo? And what would you run in a group of 3? I'm just starting to really dive into YouTube, so if you want more Diablo content, please subscribe. I'll be doing more Diablo content in the near future. If you are a fan of Final Fantasy, I'll be covering that as well. Not just 16, which is coming soon, but any and all Final Fantasy games for the most part. There's also a link to a new Discord that I just started in the description, so if you're interested in building a community together with me, then come on and join in. Thanks for watching. I'm Fabregas, and I'll see you a little bit later with some early access character builds.